Here are some interesting stories shared by Reddit users, some of which are hard to believe. Story 1. My stories sound fictional, but they actually happened to me. I myself sometimes think I imagined it, but I didn't. My mom and I were working in the yard, and my younger brothers, they were about 7 and 9 years old at the time, were jumping around on the trampoline. At one point, we took a break and sat down on garden chairs and just watched my brothers. Suddenly, they both stopped and sat on the edge of the trampoline facing my bedroom window. They started talking. It was kind of weird, like my mom, and I only heard part of that conversation. The older of the two was saying something like, yeah, they're fine, no. Ok, as if answering someone else's questions. Mom and I looked at each other and Mom asked, "Who are you guys talking to over there?" Without turning around, he replied, "She says she's our great-grandmother. She misses you. Our great-grandmother died before my brothers were born. They never saw her." Mom replied, "Honey, but great-grandma's in heaven." He turned around and told us, "Not anymore." They sat there some more, and after a while they continued to play as if nothing had happened. I left Florida in 2017 and rarely see my family, but when I visit them, I try not to leave my room at night. And another story from the same house. I was about 16 or 17 years old, coming home from school. My brother was rattling the dishes in the kitchen, so I went to see him. As I walked past his bedroom, I saw our mother sitting on his bed, her back to me, facing the wall. The lights in the room were off. I stopped by the door and asked if everything was okay. She said very slowly, "I'm just sitting. Come here, I need to talk to you." I was just about to walk over to her when suddenly I heard my mother's voice in the kitchen and saw her setting the table there. I looked into my brother's bedroom again, but no one was there. I don't think I ever went into that room alone after that incident, even 10 years later. Story 2. I have a long-distance relationship with my girlfriend. We take turns visiting each other. I live in Canada, and she lives in Australia. About 2 years ago, I visited her in Australia, where she lives with her mother. I need to clarify for the sake of understanding that her room is a sort of garage extension, meaning you have to go through the garage to get into the house. A few weeks passed after I arrived, when one day I woke up around 1 a.m. and saw that the room was illuminated by a red light. I looked up at the ceiling and saw a black figure crawling across the ceiling. It was moving in a way that no human could. It seemed as if every bone inside it was broken. I started screaming and woke up my girlfriend. She woke up, looked up at the ceiling, and started screaming too. Instinctively, I grabbed a pillow and threw it in the direction of this figure. After that, I don't remember anything. It was as if a darkness had enveloped me, and I didn't wake up until a few hours later. My girlfriend was asleep, so I thought I was dreaming. I had to go to the bathroom. I got up and walked across the garage to the main house. I should say that the door between the house and the garage there is pretty massive and clicks loudly when you open or close it. So, as not to wake up my girlfriend's mother, whose bedroom is not far from the entrance, I tried to open the door as quietly as possible. The door opened, and sure enough, it clicked loudly. My girlfriend's mother woke up and started screaming. I thought I had woken her up and frightened her, went back quickly to my girlfriend, woke her up, and asked her to calm my mother down. She left and didn't come back until about 20 minutes later, and asked if I had seen anything strange in my dream. I told her about the red light and the strange figure. Her eyes rounded, and she said she had seen the same thing. And then she added that when I opened the door to the house, my mother heard me and woke up. But it wasn't me that frightened her. It was seeing a black silhouette standing in front of her bed. She, like me, seemed to have lost consciousness, and she only woke up when my girlfriend started to pull her. Story 3. A strange phone call saved my daughter's life. I realize it could have been just a coincidence, but as a rule, I don't get a phone call at 3 a.m., much less a misdialed number. My daughter was then a frequently crying infant, and I was a nervous and frustrated baby because of his crying and feeding problems as a young mother who didn't have enough time to get enough sleep. The baby was sleeping next to me at night in my bed with my husband because of this. And then at 3 o'clock am, someone called our landline. Both my husband and I woke up, but I didn't want to get up, and my husband went to answer the phone. And when he came out of the room, I felt something strange under me. I was lying on something. I looked up and was horrified. I was lying on my baby. The thing that parents are often warned about would have happened, and I would have crushed my daughter to death. Luckily, everything was fine, and I pulled her out and made sure of it. And then my husband came back and said that someone he didn't even know had called and was speaking a language he didn't understand. When I told him about the baby, he was shocked too. Since then, I never took the baby to sleep in our bed again. Now my daughter is 18 years old. She knows the story and believes she was saved by her guardian angel. Story 4. It happened in 2005, and it's a completely true story. My father was cursed by his business associates. He took his shoes off at work for a while, and when he put them back on, there was some strange powder inside. This powder made my father itch, and then it turned into sores that never healed. At the same time, he hid his condition from his family and doctors until the very last, and only went to the clinic when he was completely exhausted. But the clinic could only offer him an amputation of his foot. I must say that both my father and my other family stayed away from me because I believe in witchcraft and practice it. But when my father was offered an amputation, he came to me for help in desperation. In Jamaica, we say about such cases, when a grown man has nothing to wear, you will be glad to wear children's clothes. I examined his soaking, rotting leg and decided to enlist the help of the cemetery spirit. I took all the necessary things with me and went to the cemetery to look for a spirit who would agree to help me. I made my choice at the grave of an old woman. Grandmothers in Jamaica often resort to domestic witchcraft and witchcraft, so I decided it was the right choice. I performed the ritual and the spirit appeared to me, after which I asked him to cure my father. I told him my father's name, and as a reward, I poured a glass of good rum and left it on that grandmother's grave. That same night, I dreamt of this old woman, and she came to me and scolded me for disturbing her peace, and then declared that she did not like my present. I do not drink rum. She said, I am a true Christian and do not believe in witchcraft. I will help your father, but never come to me again. Within the next 9 days, my father's leg was completely healed. My father, by the way, always told me that what a man was when he was alive, he remains the same after death. Story 5. I was about 14 years old, early 90s. We were moving from Texas to Tacoma, Washington. We ran out of money, almost ran out of gas and of food. We stopped in Chico, California. I sat in the car while my mom took my younger sisters to the bathroom at the gas station. I was worried about our situation and must have been looking under my feet. The car door opened and I heard it and turned my head. A woman with brown hair got in the car and looked at me. She said, "Looks like your luck has turned away from you. Take this and give it to your mother. Have her give that debt to someone who needs it someday." She shoved something in my hand and got up from the seat. I looked down and saw that I was holding a $100 bill in my hand. When I looked up, the woman was nowhere to be found. Not in the parking lot, not anywhere. It was like she disappeared into thin air. I cried. When my mother came back, I told her everything. She cried too. We bought gasoline. There was a guy selling oranges by the gas station, and we bought a whole bag of fruit from him. Went to the local park by the river, sat there for a few hours, ate oranges and bathed, and then went back to the car. I never met this woman again. We got to Tacoma and started our new life there. Thank you, strange lady who can become invisible. We will never forget your kindness.